Tonight at 9, a Southwest Missouri man pleads guilty and is sentenced for child molestation. We'll have the details. Plus the latest on the investigation into a Tulsa area house fire killing 8 people, including 6 children. And the Miners Hall Museum in Franklin, Kansas receives more than $300,000 grant.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Amber Jenkins. A woman is in serious conditions after a hit and run in Pittsburgh. Authorities say an SUV hit a 43-year-old Medellin Instruma on the 1400 block of East 20th Street just before noon today. They say the SUV car immediately left the scene. Police describe it as a P-Wheeler car SUV and is traveling west. It appears to be an early 2000 Chevrolet Tahoe or a GMC Yukon that might have some damage on the front passenger side area. If you have more information related to the incident, you are urged to contact the Pittsburgh Police Department. A Southwest Missouri man is dead after a crash in Berry County, Missouri. Authorities say the 28-year-old Walter Hooper has a third of Cassville was driving 5 miles south of Cassville on Missouri 76, where he crossed the center line and hit another car. He was pronounced dead on the scene. A 15-year-old boy from Aurora, Missouri is critically injured after being hit by a car. Authorities say the boy and a friend were crossing the Highway 60 in Lawrence County in low light conditions when he was hit. Police do not believe the driver was impaired. The boy has undergone surgery but remains in critical conditions. The investigation continues. A Neosho man is sentenced for child molestation. In the fall of last year, authorities say the victim told a forensic interview that 19-year-old David Cox had forcibly molested them. They had the crime happen multiple times from 2017 to 2020. The victims was between the ages of 11 and 14. Cox is sentenced to 15 years and will get 413 days credit for the time served. A Southwest Missouri woman who fled while bonded out on a murder charge for killing her husband is back in McDonough County. McDonough County Sheriff deputies traveled to Indiana yesterday to pick up Dawn Wynn. Authorities arrested Lynn for a suspect for shooting of her husband Harold Wynn last November. She was given reduced bond on $100,000, which means she paid 10% of it. Authorities say she was out on bond when she disappeared after saying she was suicidal. A warrant was being issued which was revoked her bond. Now Wynn is in the McDonough County Jail, held on a no bond status. Fire crews battle a mobile home fire near Seneca, Missouri. The home is burning in Angus Drive near Oklahoma line. Everyone was reported out of the residence. Reddings Mill Fire responded along with Newton County Ambulance. They requested mutual aid from the Seneca, Quapaw, and Joplin fire departments. Our reporter Shannon Becker tells us that 2 adult residents have now lost their home. Oklahoma authorities say the death of 8 people, including 6 children, found in the burning home in the Tulsa area is now being investigated as a murder-suicide. Broken Arrow Police Chief Brandon Berryhill says that the 6 children range from 1 to 13 years old and 2 adults were found dead and considered suspects. The cause of death are still being under investigation, but the Broken Arrow Fire Chief says that it does not appear anyone died because of the fire.
This is an extremely difficult time for our city and our departments. We pray that healing will follow this, and as we move through this investigation, it will continue to be a difficult time.
The police chief says guns were recovered from the inside of the home. He says there is no danger to the public related to this case. The Miners Hall Museum in Franklin, Kansas is getting a big grant and a donation to help preserve a part of the Southeast Kansas coal mining history. The check presentation today totaled more than $337,000. $225,000 of that comes from the state grant, and the Patterson Family Foundation gave more than $112,000. The money will go towards relocating a unique piece of machinery that was used to dig coal in Cherokee County. It was called a Page 618 walking dragline. That giant machine was donated by Wendell and Linda Wilkinson. It will be relocated to the US 69 and Kansas 47 junction just south of the museum in Franklin. Officials say it will be honor of the miners.
People that were dedicated, they knew that they needed to raise families and do the work that it took. So we are so happy to honor them.
The John U. Perlow Education Trust also pledged an additional $250,000 towards the project. Fort Scott Community College today unveiled a new look for the oldest building on campus. Renovations is complete on Bailey Hall, a building that's partially the student unit and partially the Student Success Center. The $1.6 million renovation includes new windows and auditorium makeover. The building opened for tours today to show off a new look. The school received funding from the renovation in 2019. The husband of a House Speaker, Nancy Pelosi, is in the hospital following an attack at their home overnight in San Francisco. The motive is still unclear, but police say that the attack was targeted. Lauren Blanchard is in Washington with what we know.
You can still see the broken glass door at House Speaker Nancy Pelosi's home in San Francisco, where an intruder attacked her 82-year-old husband, Paul, in the middle of the night.
The motive for this attack is still being determined.
Police say 42-year-old David DePappy is in custody after violently attacking Mr. Pelosi with a hammer. Law enforcement sources say DePappy was shouting, "Where is Nancy?"
The suspect pulled the hammer away from Mr. Pelosi and violently assaulted him with it. Our officers immediately tackled the suspect, disarmed him, took him into custody.
The U.S. Capitol Police, as well as the FBI and the San Francisco District Attorney, are all assisting local police. DePappy is facing serious charges.
Mr. DePappy will be booked at the San Francisco County Jail on the following charges: attempted homicide, assault with a deadly weapon, elder abuse, burglary, and several other additional felonies.
Members of Congress have wished the family the best. The White House has condemned the attack. Mr. Pelosi does not have security like Speaker Pelosi, who was in Washington, D.C. at the time. Members of Congress do have $10,000 to secure their homes.
You would think after the attack on Gabby Giffords, the attack on Steve Scalise, you would think they would have actually done something else.
Mr. Pelosi has bruising, severe swelling, and other injuries. The Speaker's office says he is expected to make a full recovery. In Washington, Lauren Blanchard, Fox News.
Russian forces kick off a new offensive in east while Ukraine rolls out more blackouts to save power. Reporter Greg Palnot has more from Kyiv, Ukraine.
The Russians are down but not out in Ukraine as Moscow makes a major push to capture a key strategic city in the east. Russian forces now about 3 miles from the city of Bakhmut, and they're inching closer using heavy artillery and massive airstrikes to push the Ukrainians back. The loss of the city would damage Ukraine's supply lines and make it easier for the Russians to try and push west, but Bakhmut's defenders say they won't let that happen.
We keep defending. They push and we beat off their attacks. We will defend our positions.
The renewed offensive comes just days after Russia accused Ukraine of making a radioactive dirty bomb. Analysts say that accusation could be a pretext for Russia setting one off itself. On Thursday, Russian President Putin claimed the use of nukes in Ukraine is off the table, but the Pentagon says it's still keeping a close eye on Russia's nuclear posture.
The secretary laid out the strategy, which is, to continue to deter any country, any nation from using nuclear weapons.
Meanwhile, with Russian airstrikes targeting civilian infrastructure, Ukrainian officials are announcing more rolling blackouts. Here in Kyiv, the mayor says the power grid is now in emergency mode, with electricity supplies down as much as 50%. But residents here say it's a small price to pay to help their country survive.
When there is war going on in the country, it is not a big deal if one has to go home early or walk in darkness or save power at home.
Ukrainian President Zelensky referred to the blackouts in a dramatic nighttime address proclaiming, "We are not afraid of the darkness." In Kyiv, Greg Balcon, Fox News.
KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14 takes this time to honor another four-state hero. Ivan McCoy of Lamar, Missouri. Sergeant McCoy served in the Army in 1945 in France, Italy, and Austria. To Sergeant Ivan McCoy, we thank you, our four-state hero. Doug is up next with a complete look at the forecast. And later in sports, Pittsburgh State looks to stay undefeated against a tough Central Missouri defense.
Well, it turned out to be a nice Friday. A lot of clouds, but temperatures great. We made it into the upper 60s during the afternoon, but we're not going to see much in the way of the sunshine as we go into the weekend, but that's okay. It's still the weekend, so we'll definitely take it. Nice shot, Indigo Sky Casino and Resort, of course. Indigo, just outside of Seneca, Missouri. Currently outside, we're looking at 7th and range line. We're sitting at 56. East, northeasterly winds are light. Humidity is at 47%. Into the morning, we're going to drop back upper 40s, but look at all the clouds. All day long, we'll warm into the 50s, eventually mid 60s once again. But we have a storm system that's turning to our south. So this is pumping in the clouds from south to north. Look at all the rain. Oklahoma, parts of Texas, all the way down into the Gulf of Mexico. And this upper level low right here is slowly going to track up into the boot heel of Missouri, and it keeps it close enough. It gives us the clouds, and it will even give us a few showers. In fact, we have a band of light rain just to the south of Fayetteville, so this will affect Benton County, Delaware County, McDonald County, and probably over to Craig and Nowata County as we go through the overnight hours tonight. So let's go through time. Here come the clouds. Here come a few little bands of light little showers. Most of the day, though, is going to be dry. So we start in the 40s. We have clouds all day long. Here's the noon hour, but look at the rain increasing as we go into the afternoon. Kind of curls up right along the I-44 corridor. So if you live in our northern counties, you aren't going to see rain. It's mainly our mid and southern counties. The areas that do see rain, it's going to be scattered and very light, but we'll take what we can get. On and off showers continue. Here's tomorrow evening, 9 p.m. On and off light showers, mainly on the Missouri side into Sunday morning. And then still, even the entire day of Sunday, we have a lot of clouds kind of sticking around all day long and a hit or miss shower or two as we go into Sunday afternoon. Good news here is, even though the clouds are going to stick all the way into Monday morning, we're going to get sunshine, and of course Monday is Halloween. All right, here's your day planner. 48 to start, 63 by noon, holding about 63 by 5, high temp 65, rain increases late in the day. Look at our 36-hour rain chances. You can see we're dry tonight, but after the noon hour, those chances start to go up and last all the way into Sunday morning. 65 tomorrow, 60 on Sunday. Look at Halloween, 68. So it looks pretty good. Trick-or-treating, not too bad. Temperatures are going to slide back through the upper 50s. So it's going to be chilly, but it's going to be pretty good for trick-or-treaters, and then we bounce back into the 70s as we go into next week. Amber?
Thank you, Doug. Coming up, Elon Musk officially takes over Twitter. How he's already making changes at the social media giant. It appears workers are getting paid more, but inflation may have them feeling like they are getting paid less. The Bureau of Labor Statistics released its quarterly employment cost index. Wages and salaries for workers rose 1.3% in the third quarter and more than 5% on the years ending in September. When the numbers are adjusted for the rising prices, though, wages and salaries are actually declined 3% over the year. 300 business groups are calling on President Biden to intervene in the ratification of the agreement between rail unions and freight railroads. The president helped broker that tentative agreement last month. In a letter, the groups said the rail shutdown would have a significant impact on the economy and lead to more inflammatory pressure. 6 unions have ratified that deal, 2 voted it down, and the 4 have not voted. Unions that vote against the deal could authorize a strike if there is no new agreements by November 19th. As Elon Musk takes the helm and the new wave of Twitter, the billionaire plans to develop a content moderation council before reinstating any suspended accounts. Reporter Anna Elapolis has more.
Tesla CEO Elon Musk takes control of Twitter after closing a $44 billion acquisition deal. On Friday, the company filed to have its shares removed from the New York Stock Exchange. Under Musk's leadership, Twitter will become private, but but he plans to take it public again within the next 5 years.
This has been a treadmill stock for the last decade. It's really been a train wreck situation, and now he needs to try to turn around step by step.
As part of a series of other changes, Musk fired several Twitter executives and data engineers. He's also taking steps to reduce content moderation. On Friday, the billionaire tweeted plans to investigate, quote, shadow banning. That's when a platform suppresses a user's content without notifying them.
You have to have some content moderation or the platform would not be usable. For those users who still want those same protocols that Twitter uses now, tell them they can still have it, they can opt in.
It's raised questions as to whether users who were suspended, such as former President Donald Trump, will return. On Friday, Trump indicated he has no plans to leave his Truth Social platform, but writes, quote, I am very happy that Twitter is now in sane hands. Musk plans to bring in Tesla engineers to see what other changes can be made. Some Twitter users say they're unsure of their future on the platform.
Most of the people I know who are on there are just waiting. They're going to wait to see what happens.
As he took the reins, Musk tweeted, the bird is freed. Anna Eliopoulos, Fox News.
Still ahead, as cases of RSV continue to increase across the country, health officials raise concerns of this triple-demic this winter. A new lung cancer drug has shown a promising results in its first clinical trial. It's called NVL-520. And the doctors in Spain are saying that it's successful as halting tumor growth in patients with non-small cell lung cancer with few side effects, but experts caution that the drug is still only in its early testing stages. New research finds women with high COVID-19 stress were twice as likely to report changes in their menstrual cycle compared to those with less stress. In the University of Pittsburgh study, 12% of participants reported irregularities in their length, duration, and flow and spotting, a finding researchers are calling alarming. More than half of the participants reported at least one of those changes during the pandemic. Hospitalizations continue to increase across the country as RSV spreads, as it is the highest rates in more than 25 years, prompting fears of a triple pandemic. Reporters Dave Anthony has more from New York.
The respiratory virus known as RSV is still spreading quickly across the country, with healthcare providers in nearly every state reporting major spikes. It's mostly targeting younger people, and hospitalizations are skyrocketing. More than 75% of pediatric hospital beds in the U.S. are now full. And while some doctors say the trends will only get worse as winter approaches, federal health officials claim the virus can be controlled if people return to mitigation efforts like hand washing and social distancing.
We are in control. We have the tools we need to ensure folks have a safe and healthy holiday season.
Another problem, the spike in RSV cases comes at the start of what's expected to be one of the worst flu seasons in years, and just ahead of a possible COVID surge as new variants emerge. With 3 viruses now circulating, doctors say the best way to stay safe is to get your COVID and flu vaccines.
One of the reasons why you might be seeing more hospitalizations is kids or adults are getting co-infections. So if you can take 1 or 2 of them off the table by getting vaccinated, that's a big help.
But anxious parents say that might not be enough protection, and some are considering a return to distance learning until the RSV spike is over.
Of course, that fear still lies in every parent, I believe, but the only thing I can do is just do my best and try to keep them healthy, and just do my part.
The CDC says last week there were about 6,000 new RSV cases reported in the U.S. In New York, Dave Anthony, Fox News.
Up next, if you ever wanted your horse to be more fashionable, well, we'll tell you how you can get some custom-made sneakers. You heard of horseshoes, but what about horse sneakers? A Kentucky company called Horse Kicks is building itself as the world's first online custom sneaker retailer, exclusively for your horse. The company is offering horse versions of popular sneakers such as Yeezys and Air Jordans. The price tag is around $1,200 per shoe. 30 minutes of news, weather, and sports is coming your way. A local spooky trail makes a comeback just in time for Halloween. plus how you can help the Salvation Army to make sure everyone has a Merry Christmas this holiday season. They call it a haunted trail, but this Halloween attraction swamps the scarier side of Halloween for something more magical. The Drake and Moore All Ages Haunted Trail is a free walking trail in Joplin that features inflated characters from book of the same name. The characters help young children navigate the sometimes difficult challenges of life.
We do sell copies of the book here on the trail. Any night that we're open, we have the books for sale here, and usually the author is here to autograph them as well. But you can also buy them online. You can look them up on Amazon. They sell them a number of places online.
He also wants families to know that this is not your usual Halloween attraction, which means no horror and no gore. If you're in the Christmas spirit and feeling charitable to make some kids' holiday season, check out the Christmas for Kids program. The Salvation Army of Jasper and Newton counties is now taking applicants in need for assistance for its Christmas for Kids program. The program brings a way for the less fortunate kids ages 15 and under and adults 60 and older to receive Christmas presents. All you have to do is sign up and pick a name off a Christmas tree found in various locations and buy gifts for them.
They actually get to put those gifts under the tree for their kids, or a senior that gets to open up a gift. Mainly what the seniors ask for is toilet paper, detergent, household needs that they can't afford on their own due to their income.
Application closed November 4th. Presents will be handed out on December 21st. For those looking for assistance, the application is open and the link is on the KOAM News Now app. The new director of the Federal Bureau of Prisons is promising reform, addressing inmate safety and employment issues compromising how many of the facilities safely operate. Jackie Imbez reports.
In the wake of escalating criticism against the U.S. federal prison system, highlighting ongoing issues of sexual assault, suicides, and homicides, Colette Peters, the new Federal Bureau of Prisons director, says enough is enough.
We cannot have any surprises. We have to know what is happening inside our agency so we can help.
Peters vowing Monday to reform the nation's dilapidated federal prisons, which hold nearly 160,000 inmates and are run by more than 30,000 staff. The change starts by enforcing a zero-tolerance policy for employees who abuse power.
Just holding people accountable when we find out that they have falsified documentation or have engaged in not doing their job.
Making prisons safer also involves increased monitoring of conflicts between inmates, as well as reviewing where inmates are housed and with whom they share a cell.
Many of the suicides occur in single cells. Many of them occur in restrictive housing. So ensuring that there's programming and treatment and access to psychology services while in restrictive housing, ensuring that people are not single-celled is incredibly important.
Major overhauls are also being made across women's prisons to address sexual assaults.
We're trying to inject the agency with trauma-informed care, gender-responsive care, and really taking all of these allegations seriously.
Meanwhile, Peters says it's critical to bolster employment at prisons with staff who are dedicated to reforming inmates so they can successfully rejoin society after their sentences. Jackie Ibanez, Fox News.
A bit later, some tips to live without a credit card.
Credit card interest rates are continuing to climb thanks to inflation. I'm Jerry Willis. Coming up, how you can cut the cards and stay debt-free.
Well, it turned out to be a nice Friday. A lot of clouds, but temperatures great. We made it into the upper 60s during the afternoon, but we're not going to see much in the way of the sunshine as we go into the weekend, but that's okay. It's still the weekend, so we'll definitely take it. Nice shot. Indigo Sky Casino and Resort, of course. Indigo, just outside of Seneca, Missouri. Currently outside, we're looking at 7th and Range Line. We're sitting at 56. East northeasterly winds are light. Humidity is at 47%. Into the morning, we're going to drop back upper 40s, but look at all the clouds. All day long, we'll warm into the 50s, eventually mid-60s once again. But we have a storm system that's turning to our south, so this is pumping in the clouds from south to north. Look at all the rain. Oklahoma, parts of Texas, all the way down into the Gulf of Mexico. And this upper level low right here is slowly going to track up into the boot heel of Missouri, and it keeps it close enough. It gives us the clouds, and it will even give us a few showers. In fact, we have a band of light rain just to the south of Fayetteville, so this will affect Benton County, Delaware County, McDonald County, and probably over to Craig and Nowata County as we go through the overnight hours tonight. So let's go through time. Here come the clouds. Here come a few little bands of light little showers. Most of the day, though, is going to be dry. So we start in the 40s. We have clouds all day long. Here's the noon hour, but look at the rain increasing as we go into the afternoon. Kind of curls up right along the I-44 corridor. So if you live in our northern counties, you aren't going to see rain. It's mainly our mid and southern counties. The areas that do see rain, it's going to be scattered and very light, but we'll take what we can get. On and off showers continue. Here's tomorrow evening, 9 p.m. On and off light showers, mainly on the Missouri side into Sunday morning. And then still, even the entire day of Sunday, we have a lot of clouds kind of sticking around all day long and a hit or miss shower or two as we go into Sunday afternoon. Good news here is, even though the clouds are going to stick all the way into Monday morning, we're going to get sunshine, and of course Monday is Halloween. All right, here's your day planner. 48 to start, 63 by noon, holding about 63 by 5, high temp 65, rain increases late in the day. Look at our 36-hour rain chances. You can see we're dry tonight, but after the noon hour, those chances start to go up and last all the way into Sunday morning. 65 tomorrow, 60 on Sunday. Look at Halloween, 68. So it looks pretty good. Trick-or-treating, not too bad. Temperatures are going to slide back through the upper 50s. So it's going to be chilly, but it's going to be pretty good for trick-or-treaters. And then we bounce back into the 70s as we go into next week. Amber?
Thank you, Doug. A climate crisis continues threatening millions of lives. Reporter Ted Linder takes a look at a news report highlighting how fossil fuel addiction is contributing to a catastrophic health issue.
Scientists from around the world say global dependence on fossil fuels is making people sicker and weaker. According to a new report published in the medical journal The Lancet, air pollution from the burning of fossil fuels kills roughly 1.2 million people every year, with nearly 12,000 deaths in the U.S. alone.
Until we know how to remove emissions from the atmosphere and do something with them, even this past perilous year may well prove to be better than almost any year ahead of us.
Global carbon dioxide emissions last year rose to their highest level in history, with the International Energy Agency expecting them to keep rising through 2022, causing global temperatures to remain hotter for longer and fueling more extreme weather emergencies. On Tuesday, the Lancet report warned how climate change has increased heat-related deaths by nearly 70% in vulnerable communities of color.
And that's because there are systems of income, class, race that are always in play.
The report also states extreme weather disasters are resulting in roughly 100 million more people going hungry. Academic experts say ongoing Western drought is proof the U.S. is not immune to a climate-driven hunger crisis.
The extreme heat and drought out west has really put upward pressure on prices for things like vegetables and fruit. For example, California is one of the largest producers of processing tomatoes that go into a lot of our pantry items. Things like pasta sauce and other prepared foods are going to be going up in price because of the price increases due to those weather events.
Ted Linder, Fox News.
Coming up in sports, Pittsburgh State hits the road in a tough matchup against Central Missouri. Plus, Missouri Southern looks to get back in the win column this week against Missouri Western. Jacob Leonard has that and more.
The Pittsburgh State Gorillas are on the road this weekend facing Central Oklahoma. Now, the Gorillas are trying to remain undefeated heading into Saturday's game with an 8-0 overall record. Now, their defense has been great all season long. They lead the MIAA in scoring defense. They're second in the league in sacks. Linebacker Dubem Okonkwo been really good the last few games. The redshirt sophomore has 4 sacks in 4 games, has 5 on the season.
I'm very coached very well with Coach Anthony and Coach Nutt and Coach Ook. They really teach me the fundamentals on how to defeat blocks, and then going against offensive linemen who are first team all conference and second team all conference, the competition in practice is phenomenal. So they always iron sharpens iron, and I constantly get better every day at practice.
We have a great group of guys there, and they're committed and they work really hard, and they've bought into this program, and they're willing to do whatever is required of them to help us win. And Dubin was a great example of that, changing positions right before the season began, and allowed us to just get more speed and some of our best players on the field at one time.
As for the Missouri Southern Lions, they will be on the road against Missouri Western this weekend. The Lions are 4-4, trying to avoid their third straight loss. Now, last weekend, they dropped a heartbreaker, falling to Emporia State 24-21. It was their second straight three-point loss, but despite falling a little short, they know it was against one of the best in the MIAA.
We're not going to lose confidence because we lost to a 6-2 ball club that's ranked in the region right now. If the season ended, they go to the playoffs. So if you told me 2 years ago when I took this job we'd be taking a playoff team to the fourth quarter, I'd probably look at you crazy. But our team has confidence. I have confidence in our players. I have confidence in our coaches. And so, unfortunately, just because you work hard and you prepare hard doesn't guarantee you a victory. You can do everything perfect and still lose. And so we did a lot of things right on Saturday, and we just came up a little short.
The Kansas City Chiefs are 5-2 in the first 7 weeks of the season. Last week, they went on the road and beat the 49ers 44-23. This week is a bye week for the Chiefs, but still, like every Friday night during the season, right now it's time to hear from the voice of the Chiefs, Mitch Holthus, in this week's Minute with Mitch.
Last summer in late July, Hy-Vee asked me to MC the IndyCar race weekend in Newton, Iowa. It was crazy and exciting. IndyCar is going 172 miles an hour on a 7/8 mile track. Laps were between 18 and 22 seconds. It feels like the first 7 weeks of the Chiefs season have been that way. Crazy, exhausting, exciting. Remember, the Chiefs were the first team in NFL history to play their first 7 games against teams that had winning records the year prior. And the Chiefs had 5 different kickoff times on 3 different days of the week in their first 5 games, throwing off the biorhythms. Now it's the bye week and a chance to exhale. Kind of like the IndyCar race in Iowa. When a yellow caution flag came out, everything slowed down. But very soon, the green flag will drop, and we'll have a crazy restart to this season on this Minute with Mitch. The Minute with Mitch is brought to you by Como Jewelry. Every day's game day, Como Jewelry, Pittsburgh, Joplin.
Now, the Chiefs will be back in action on November 6th, hosting the Tennessee Titans on Sunday Night Football. Now, that's it for sports. Be sure to join us right back here on Fox 14 at 11 o'clock for Press Box. That's a 30-minute show. It's all high school football. We'll have highlights and scores from all across the area, including highlights out of Joplin, Girard, Neosho, Pittsburgh, and more. We're back after this.
If you're sick of credit card debt, you are not the only one. So how do you stop it? Reporter Jerry Willis has some ideas.
Credit cards, they can come in handy when you're in need of some fast funds. But what is that convenient cash truly costing you?
Banks. They must be screwing you. You knew they were screwing you. You knew it was happening.
According to LendingTree, the average credit card interest rate is 22%. That's the highest it's been since 2019.
And yet, because of inflation, because of all the problems in the budget, people are diving into that 22%, running up their credit card debt.
Financial experts like Dave Ramsey think the best way to beat the system is by cutting the credit cards altogether.
I got rid of the credit cards a long time ago, went to a debit card, and don't have any fees that way, but they keep hammering me trying to get me into debt.
Learning the truth about credit scores is a great way to stay in control of your finances.
One of the reasons people hang on to that credit card is because they want that precious credit score. And I've learned, I haven't had a credit score in years, and I've learned you can rent apartments, you can rent cars, you can rent hotels, and I even bought a house without a credit score. And so you don't have to have a credit score to live your financial life.
Lastly, you should always save what you can in an emergency fund.
We found 36% of Americans can't cover a $400 emergency. Americans are now $887 billion in credit card debt.
The trick is you don't make good decisions when you're afraid, so you need to pan back from the emotion and say, I'm going to make the money that I have behave. I can't control all this stuff coming at me, but I can control how I react to it.
Jerry Willis, Fox Business.
Coming up, we'll learn more about how some of Hollywood's biggest stars are getting into Halloween spirit. Hollywood stars are getting into the spirit of this season, Halloween, with scary movies, costumes and decorations, and more celebrations. Here's Fox Ashley Dvorkin.
Hollywood stars have favorite festivities for Halloween fun.
You came here to kill me, so do it.
For Halloween Ends icon Jamie Lee Curtis, it's about bringing scares on screen. And of course, she has a top costume of all time.
Hey, baby, bell bottoms and a blue shirt.
Jada Martell of Mr. Harrigan's Phone and It loves much about the holiday.
The candy, the dressing up, the parties.
His costume planning is TBD.
I'm always very last minute, but I always appreciate a good costume when other people go for it.
Mario Cantone is all about scary movies, co-hosting Creepy Cinema.
I am a huge horror movie, scary movie fan.
Oh my God. Turner Classic Movies?
Yes.
You don't even understand. I love Turner Classic Movies. It's on 24/7 in my house.
Cantone already showed off his costume.
The Masked Singer, Maze was my Halloween costume.
Okay.
That's it. I don't like dressing up, but my husband decorates the house, so it looks great. And, we watch scary movies, and I live in New York City in an apartment building, so I go downstairs with a bag of candy and I give candy to the kids.
Rocky Horror Picture Show's Barry Bostwick is doing the time warp again with a 47th anniversary tour.
Brad Majors, my character, says in the beginning to Janet, "It's just a party, Janet," when she gets all nervous about it. And you know what? That's how I approach this evening. It's just a party.
The Haunting series star Kate Siegel starts Halloween early.
I have kids now, and so I can get into Halloween starting October 1st, and then we stick with it all of October. And then November is Thanksgiving, and December is Christmas, and January is depressing.
For producer Jason Blum, it's always time to celebrate.
Never too early to start celebrating Halloween. What do you say?
I say happy Halloween.
In Hollywood, Ashley Dvorkin, Fox News.
That's our time for tonight. Thank you for joining us. We'll leave you with a video of a baby rhino at a Chester Zoo in England. Be safe. We're doing this all again tomorrow. See you then.